Hey, this is Steve with Real-Time Music Solutions, and today I'd like to do a quick overview of navigation events in Sinfonia 3. Navigation events include cuts, vamps, repeats, attaccas, pauses, stops, cut-offs, and rel-secs. We'll go over each one and their function in this video. If you've used Sinfonia 2 in the past, you already know the basics, but the approach has been updated to be more streamlined and tactile. When you first launch Sinfonia, the instrument mixer will most likely have focus, meaning instrument mutes or volume changes would be displayed if they existed in the song. That said, take a look below the timeline here. This is what we call the navigation lane. It serves as a reminder of navigation events throughout the song. As navigation events affect playback, we thought it important to show them at all times. The navigation lane in the opening number of Sweeney Todd shows two events. If we click on either one, the current view filter and thus the active central window will shift to navigation. We could also click the compass rose here to do the same. Notice how these events now carry a line that makes it easier to see exactly where they fall. These events can be changed or deleted, but to do so, we need to enter edit mode. Now that we're in edit mode, we can click on them to get more information. I'll select this purple event first. I see here we have a stop event, and it exists at measure 10, beat 1, tick 479. This event stops the sequencer clock cold, cutting off all notes. After you hit a stop, you must hit play to continue. Though you have the freedom to amend events in numerous ways, the traditional way was to edit the data here in the location guide. That said, in an effort to make things more tactile, you can also click, hold, and drag to move the event left and right as you like. You can do this with all events, and we call it elastic editing. Over here, we have an attacca. This tells Sinfonia to play through to the next song without stopping. At the end of this song, we have a rel-sec. This event tells Sinfonia to play into the next song, but stop at the top. We can see a number of events in this song. We've already spoken on the stop events. Let's take a look at these cyan events that look like fermatas. These are known as pause events in Sinfonia. With a pause, the sequencer clock does not stop, and the notes sustain. When you run into a pause, as you can see, the play button will feature a little pause symbol and begin blinking, alerting you to interact with it. Of course, you can also trigger the play button in your MIDI keyboard or function keys as well. What's this blue box? This is a repeat. Repeats will repeat a section as many times as you'd like, and you can program it to do so ahead of time by manipulating the times value here. One more thing to mention. When you select an event in the timeline, it gets highlighted over here in the inspector. If you click the icon in the inspector, a box with all the details of the event pops out and you can edit it freely. Here's the measure, beat, and tick again, i.e. the precise location, as well as the weight and times values, and the target. The target specifies where the repeat redirects once the playhead reaches the end. So, in this case, once the playhead reaches measure 44, we're redirected back to the target measure of 43. And to remind you, due to the elastic editing, if you need to make the region-based events like this longer or shorter, or move them elsewhere entirely, you can do so with your mouse. Near the end of the song, we have a red region-based event. This is a vamp. In short, a vamp is an infinite repeat. When inside of a vamp, the exit vamp button of the transport will begin to flash. When you hit the exit vamp button, you're telling Sinfonia this is the last lap. When that last lap is completed, Sinfonia moves on. You can also choose to leap out of a vamp by typing in the destination measure during playback and hitting enter twice. This is called arbitrary relocation, and it can also be used in emergency scenarios where you need to quickly jump to another place in the song if something goes wrong on stage, like a missed entrance. One more note here. In performance mode, during playback, you can use what's called an arbitrary vamp if something goes wrong on stage and you want to stall for time without cutting off the music, as you might with a real band. To trigger the on-the-fly vamp, hit this button on your MIDI keyboard or this function key. Let's see it in action. Notice that I've tapped the arbitrary vamp button twice, thus creating a 2-measure vamp. Tap it as many times as you'd like to create longer vamps if necessary. When exiting an arbitrary vamp, the same rules apply as before. Next, let's talk about this event, a cut. Let's create one. I'll click and drag over a swath of measures, and now hit the cut button. There's no deletion of music in Sinfonia. Editing is completely non-destructive. So instead we have the cut function, which simply tells Sinfonia to jump over that section of music. The last event we have to discuss is a cutoff. A cutoff event will silence any currently sounding notes without stopping the progression of playback. Like vamps, you can lay in a cutoff wherever you'd like, or trigger one live. Let's see what happens if we lay one in. Now, let's see it on the fly. As with all edits in Sinfonia, when you're done, click File, Save, and move back to performance mode. We hope you found this video on navigation events helpful in running your show. This has been Steve with Real Time Music Solutions. Thanks for watching.